Welcome back. In this mini-series, we're going to introduce you to the fundamentals of part modelling in SolidWorks. If you've already worked through our sketching series, you're in the right place. Now that you understand the basics of creating 2D sketches, it's time to take that knowledge and start turning those 2D sketches into 3D parts. In this series, I'll demonstrate some of the most commonly used features in SolidWorks, such as Boss Extrude, Cut Extrude, Revolve, Fillet and Chamfer. And by the end, we will have modelled this steering knuckle. I'll explain a number of options along the way, making sure you fully understand each feature. To get started, I'm going to create a new part file and start a sketch on the top plane. We will be creating a more complex sketch shortly, but for this first sketch, all that is needed is a single circle with its centre on the origin and a diameter of 40mm. In the previous sketching series, we solely used the Sketch tab, but now we're at a stage where we would like to add 3D information. We'll be using both the Sketch tab and the Features tab. One of the simplest and most commonly used features is Boss Extrude. Boss Extrude creates 3D geometry by extruding a 2D sketch along a straight line. It adds material to a part with options to control direction, depth and draft. The properties for the Boss Extrude are displayed in the Properties pane on the left hand side, and you can see there are a number of options. Let's focus on the drop down that currently says Blind. Blind is used when you want to specify a direction and a value for the extrude length. This direction can be toggled either side of the plane we sketched a circle on by pressing this arrow. The midplane end condition also uses a value for the extrude length, but unlike Blind where the direction can be one way or the other, with midplane the material is added equally about the sketch plane. For this, I'll stick with Blind and make sure the value is set to 35mm, and then hit the green tick to accept the feature. I'm going to move on and begin creating the sketch for our next feature, which will be a revolve. The revolve feature in SolidWorks creates a 3D shape by rotating a 2D sketch around an axis. So we need to capture the 2D cross-sectional information of the required shape within a sketch. Using the front plane, I'll sketch a rectangle from the origin and drag it out to the bottom left-hand corner. Then using some of the other sketch tools, I'll add the detail for the chamfered bottom edge, a cutout for a clip, and a relief cut for where the revolve joins the main body. When the revolve feature is prompted, it will require an axis. You can use a sketch line from within the sketch, so I'll add in a centre line to make it a little more obvious what is happening. This sketch is more complex than anything we discussed in the first series, and you'll notice that there are a number of sketch relations shown on the screen. It's useful to have these displayed when first learning SolidWorks, but just as a reminder, they can be hidden, and this is done by toggling the sketch relations icon from the visibility menu, but I'm going to leave them on for now. Before we can create the feature, we need to tidy the sketch up by trimming away excess sketch lines and also adding the dimensions. The Trim Entities tool within a sketch allows the trimming of a sketch where multiple entities meet or overlap. The first option, Power Trim, tends to be the best option to use. In order to trim a sketch, click in space and drag the cursor through the parts of the sketch that you would like to remove. Notice that here, the entities that are being trimmed are being split and the trimmed area is swapped to a construction line. This means that the sketch maintains its sketch relations. The solid lines are those that will define the area used for the revolve. Using the Smart Dimension tool, the dimensions can now be added. Another great use of having that construction line sketched in the middle of the sketch is that it can be used to dimension to as a centre line. If this solid line on the left is selected first, and then the centre line selected, notice how the dimension is converted so that it spans the centre line equally. This allows the input value to be either the full length if working on a symmetrical part, or in our case, the diameter value, as we're creating a revolved shape. The sketch requires a few more dimensions. And once these have been added, the sketch is fully defined. With the sketch created, the Revolve feature can now be added. It's this feature, here on the Features tab. The only thing that needs selecting is the construction line in the middle of the sketch. This sets the axis of revolution, and if I zoom out and rotate the model, you can see the preview of what geometry is going to be created. There is an option in the properties on the left called Merge Result. This should be enabled by default, and we need it enabled here, as the geometry created from this feature needs to be merged to the original extrude feature, creating a single volume. I'll then hit the green tick, and that is the second feature created. There is still some work to do on this part, so in the next video, I'll continue by removing some of the excess material by introducing you to the cut extrude feature, as well as looking at adding some fillets. And if you need to create marketing material and assembly instructions, why not try Cadacio? Turn your SolidWorks files into interactive 3D presentations that you can share online. Sign up today and try for free at Cadacio.com.